Welcome guys to another Southern Pride Corner. Well, this is number 2 in the series, so let's get to answering some questions that was put out to me. And this is kind of a redo of the video I lost, and might be a little bit better than the last one I done. If it looks like I'm reading from sheet, it is. Until I get really used to being able to memorize a lot of this stuff, I'll be using written notes to be able to give you guys all this information. I got information about models you've asked about, different things you've asked about. I've got some other stuff that I found that I thought you'd be interested in, and I got a couple tip ideas that I kind of come up with viewing different things throughout the internet. So let's jump right into this. Let's start off with answering some questions. I was asked by a fellow YouTuber by the name of Ghost Jerker about the first molded model. Well, what I found out was kind of interesting. You know, the first plastic models were manufactured at the end of 1936 by a company named Frog in the UK with the range of 1/72nd scale models called Penguin. In the late 1940s, several American companies such as Hawk, Varney, Empire, Renewal, and Lindbergh began to produce plastic models. Many of the manufacturers began production in the 1950s and gained ascendancy in the 1960s, such as Aurora, Revell, AMT, and Monogram in America, Airfix in the UK, and Heller SA in France. Other manufacturers included Matchbox UK, Italeri, ESCI, both Italian, Novo, X-Frog Molds, former Soviet Union, and Fujimi, Nishimo, and Bandai out of Japan. The American model companies who had been producing assembled promotional scale models of new automobiles each year for automobile dealers found a lucrative side business selling the unassembled parts of these promos. The hobbyists to assemble, thus finding a new revenue stream for the injection molds, which were so expensive to update each year. These early models were typically lower in detail than currently standard, with non-opening hoods, no engines, simplified or detailed or no detail on the chassis, which attached to the body with very visible screws. Within a short time, the kit business began to overshadow the production of promos, and the level of accuracy and detail was raised to satisfy the demands of the marketplace. In the 1960s, Tamiya manufactured aircraft kits in the peculiar, at the time, scale of 1/100. Although the range included famous aircraft such as the Boeing B-52 Stratofortress, McDonnell Douglas F-4 Phantom II, North American F-86 Sabre, and Dassault Mirage III, Grumman, an A-6 Intruder, and the LTV A-7 Corsair II. It never enjoyed the same success as a 1/72nd scale kits did. Soon Tamiya stopped manufacturing 1/100 scale aircraft, but reissued a small selection of them in 2004. Since the 1970s, Japanese firms such as Hasegawa and Tamiya, and since the 1990s, also Chinese firms such as DML, AFV, Club, and Trumpeter have dominated the field and represent the highest level of technology. Citation needed. Oh, sorry. Brands from Russia, Central Europe, and Korea have also become prominent recently. Many smaller companies have also produced plastic models both in the past and currently. Prior to the rise of the plastic models, shaped wood models were offered to model builders. And then by the same gentleman, Ghost Jerker, he also wanted to know what was the rarest model. Well, I've spent a lot of time looking for the rarest model car, and this is what I have found. Most of the model companies have their own rare models, so I am unable to find just one rarest model. So I figured I'll do a series of videos on some of the companies that have rare models. While I was looking for the rarest model, I found something I think you guys are going to be really interested in. It's the most expensive model out there. It's to a collector of model cars, a model of the Bugatti Veyron. Might be the centerpiece of their collection. It is, after all, the world's most expensive car. Of course, for the truly dedicated and well-off collector, The only option is the world's most expensive model car. The Bugatti Veyron Diamond Limited Edition, a collaboration between luxury designer Stuart Hughes and Swiss model car engineer Robert Galpin, is a 1/18 scale replica of the ultimate luxury car, rendered, check this out, 24 karat gold platinum and 7.2 carats of single cut flawless diamonds. Dang. The hoods and steering are all functional. The engine is highly detailed. This fantastic model car weighs in at 15 pounds. It took 2 months to make this dang thing. Only 3 of the most expensive model car in the world have been created, each accompanied by a certificate of authenticity, glass house, aluminum case, and photographic documentation. That's wild. A little bit out of my reach. Okay, I was also asked by Mr. 70 Cuda Man, got it right this time, about wheels for the General Lee. Well, I spent a long time looking, and man, I can't find nothing that is directed to the General Lee Mopar Direct. And I know I told you this in the last video, but since then, another YouTuber, hopefully you don't get mad for me saying this, but Andy X brought up to my attention that there's a company called Time Machine Resin, and they have a whole lot of Mopar wheels. So thanks, Andy, I appreciate the help, bud. Now we're going to get on to some facts about cars. Let's talk about the 1969 Copo Camaro. Chevrolet Central Office Production Order. That's what COPO stands for, Central Office Production Order. I didn't know it until I read it. You guys might, but I'll tell you anywho. They were designed for fleet sales. It was intended to spec out heavy-duty suspension for cop cars and stain-proof interiors for taxi cabs. But enterprising dealers with the right connections, such as Yanko Chevrolet in Pennsylvania, figured out that Camaros could be ordered this way. 2. And given the right order codes, the dealer could spec out a fire-breathing monster of a Camaro that Chevy didn't really want you to own. The production order, 9561, specified a 427 big block, V8 rated at 425 horsepower, just like a Vet. But the even rarer Copo 9560 called for an all-aluminum ZL-1 427 V8. Though this engine was rated with just 5 more horsepower, it was widely known that this race spec engine delivered more than 550 horsepower. Only 69 ZL-1 Camaros were built, and these cars commanded prices in the $400,000 range at an auction. Little known fact that I'll throw out to you. The aluminum ZL-1 427 V8 in the 9560 Copo Camaro is essentially a racing engine. Chevrolet originally developed this 427 motor for the Chaparral racing team to use in the Can-Am series. There are no external emblems on a ZL-1 Camaro that let you know what's under the hood. Only plain vanilla Camaro badges. That's pretty cool. How about one more, just for the fun of it? How about a 1970 Chevy Chevelle LS6? When GM relaxed its long-standing rule forbidding engines larger than 400 cubic inches to be installed in mid-sized cars, it set off a muscle frenzy across the company's division. Oldsmobile put the huge 455 cubic inch into its 442, and Chevy installed a unique 454 cubic inch V8, the LS6, into its Chevelle SS. A conservative estimate of the LS6's power put it at 450 horsepower and 500 pounds of torque, but thanks to its high 11.25 to 1 compression ratio and giant Holley 780 CFM carb, the LS6's real output in the Chevelle SS was closer to 500 horse. Many experts claim our pals at Car and Driver tested one in 1970 found it hit 60 miles per hour in just 5.4 seconds, running through the quarter mile in 13.8 seconds, and that it was the skinny, low grip tires of the day. That same car with modern rubber would be much quicker. The LS6 carries the highest factory horsepower rating of all muscle cars. Now, the little known fact. The Chevrolet Corvette has always been Chevy's top performance car, and up until the LS6, GM wouldn't allow any other Chevy to carry a horsepower rating higher than that of the Corvette. But somehow that stance was relaxed for 1970. The highest horsepower engine you could get in 1970 in a 1970 Corvette was a 390 HP LS5 454. An LS7 was planned with 465 horsepower, but it was never officially sold. So why no LS6? An LS6 Corvette was offered for 1971, but its potency slipped at least officially to a 425 horsepower. Kind of weird, huh? Well, let's try a little tip time. I came up with this idea watching on YouTube a guy use a special suction cup thing to put a window in a car. How about using a suction cup dart? You know, remember when we was kids, you shoot those little orange darts out and they got that suction cup on it? You know, from the Nerf toy. Now, I haven't tried this yet, but feasibly it would make sense that it would work. You could stick that in a little bit of water and suction it onto a window and place it into place. You won't have fingerprints. To me, I think it would actually work. But if you try it, or if I try it before you do, let me know what you think. Doesn't hurt to try. But in wrapping this session up, I want to kind of tell you what have some upcoming ideas for videos. We're gonna look at the different model manufacturers, their rarest models, see what's out there. We're gonna take a look at some of the older different cars and trucks, do some information on motors, what cars they came stock in, and different trucks. These are just a few of my ideas I came up with, and if you have any other suggestions, let me know. I got one last night from Benny Mac about the extra parts. When you get certain models, there's parts that's in there that aren't in the instructions. So I'm going to check that out, see what I can find out. Maybe give you guys some information, maybe come back with nothing. But we'll see. Now y'all watch this. Tell me what you think. Be true. You can't hurt my feelings. If you like it, cool. If it's dry, cool. You know, tell me what you think. Be honest. That's all I ask. Till next time, man. Have a great day. And thanks for stopping by the old Southern Pride Corner.